Guys get hurt, guys come back. Shuffling through all that, trying to find the right chemistry amongst those 5 guys has not been an easy task. Every week it seems like it's a new group out there working together. And so, again, that's a challenge, and that's something we'll have to keep working through this week.
So was that like Suafilo maybe – sorry, Jay. Do you feel like Suafilo maybe couldn't have, conditioning-wise have played a full game and that was part of the decision? Or?
No, I wouldn't say that. It's just a coaching decision, to put the personnel out there. But I would say that he's gotten himself back now to where he's in position to play for us.
Yeah, I was going to say, was it a knock the rust off kind of decision for Xavier, or was it Mike's not getting the job done decision?
Yeah. I mean, we had to look at some things in that last drive. He'd given up a couple pressures and sacks there, and it was time to do something different.
Zach, why do you think things have not gone well in the second halves of majority of the games this year?
Yeah, that's something that we're addressing, with our guys. And, in the last 4 games on offense, you can look at a start. We've had a drop pass on either the first drive of the third quarter, the second drive of the third quarter that have stunted drives immediately. And so, again, that's not an issue we've had in the first half. Guys have done a great job there. So we got to find something that gives us that spark, because we really started the first 7-8 games. We thought we were coming out like gangbusters in the third quarter, really, and playing well, particularly that stretch right before the bye. And then you turn around right after the bye, and it's been the opposite. Really, the last 4 weeks has been an issue for us. And that's a key to something that we got to change if we're going to win these games down the stretch, because these first halves have been dirty and a grind, but like I said, we go into halftime feeling good about the control that we have in the game, and then third quarter hasn't been that way.
Coach, when you look at the defensive side of the ball, held them to 10% conversion on third downs, and you don't really have to worry about your safeties. It looked like you found the right combination between Bell and Jesse Bates back there.
I agree with that. They held those guys to field goals. They were 1 of 10 on third down. They were 1 and 4 in the red zone scoring. Offensively, we scored 7 points, and really scored 7 points last week. And we got to do a better job of finding production, moving the ball down the field. Even when we get in the red zone, we got to hit the field goals we hit. We had a couple opportunities there that we missed, but we got to find a way to get those points on the board, because these haven't had to be 30, 40 scoring efforts to win these games. These have been kind of a race to 20 in a lot of extents, and we haven't done good enough job on offense the last 3 weeks, particularly.
Zach, would there be any benefit to letting somebody else call plays?
I'm comfortable with how we're doing it right now.
How much stock do you put in the notion of halftime adjustments? Do we overrate that, or is there something to that?
There's a mix to that. We're making adjustments throughout the entire game. Halftime really for us feels about like 5 minutes. You're in there quickly. So we're talking throughout the first quarter, the second quarter. Again, we felt like our production was really good the first 8 weeks of the season there. And, these last 3 weeks have been a struggle for us to find some offense. And it's been a real challenge. And so we got to continue to look at everything we can do to find that production in the third quarter that'll help us get a win.
When you came into the locker room with a score 7-6 instead of potentially 10-3 with what transpired right before the half, did you have to do anything to lift spirits, or were guys in pretty good shape in that regard? What was it like at halftime?
Well, again, it was disappointing the way we ended the half on offense and defense, missing a field goal there, and then and really feeling like we were in great scoring position there with the ball on the 20-yard line, and 3 plays, got no yards there. And then giving up the field goal on defense. And so that's not the way we wanted to go in the half. But, again, we felt like we played the way we set out to play the game, and had 2 potential scoring drives there at the end of the half on offense. Defense had done a good job holding them at that point to a field goal before they give up that last one. So I think the spirits were good. We felt like we were in control and felt like we were in a good spot there at halftime.
Zach, why has the running game struggled so much the last couple of weeks? It looked like you were making some progress along the way. Is it as simple as all the different combinations up front, or is there something you can pinpoint?
Well, I mean, if you saw what they did, they dared us to throw the football. They played a jam front every snap. They strangled the tight end. They put an extra guy in the box, and they played man coverage across the board. And you're going to have to move some people up front. You're going to have to break some tackles in the run game. We knew that was not a game we were going to drop back and throw the ball 50 times. We were going to grind out some runs and some nakeds. And again, it was a dirty game in the first half, and that's how we intended to play it. When we got down 2 scores there, because we had the 2 3-and-outs in the third quarter, the game took a turn, and we had to do something that we didn't want to do going into that game.
You've had a number of different offensive lines this year. Can you describe the value that Jonah Williams has had kind of solidifying that left tackle spot?
Yeah, I think, everybody on offense has kind of had their ups and downs, and we need more consistency across the board from everybody. Jonah obviously has played, I don't know, 8 games in his NFL career. So he hasn't had the fluid stretch that he anticipated. He played some and then he missed a couple with the injury, with the stinger injury, and now he's going to miss. We don't know yet, but you can guess. It could be a couple weeks. It could be ready to go this weekend. We don't know yet, but certainly not the season he anticipated having with the injuries and the consistent flow and the rhythm he can get into. But he's shown some good things for us.
Does he have the tools that you're looking for from a left tackle? And if so, what tools about him do you like about him?
I think he's got a great football IQ. He's got quick feet. He helps us in the run game. He does a lot of good things for us.
Coach, when you mentioned the drop in the third quarter and little things like that can derail drives and get the offense out of rhythm, how do the players overcome that? Because obviously they have to make plays. How do you teach them that or instill that? How do you go about that?
Well, I don't just want to give coach speak and just say we got to do a better job. We got to, whether it's the types of plays we're calling there to start the third quarter, making sure we're all on the same page. But again, the bottom line is we just have to execute what we do. We got to put us in the best positions as coaching staff, and we got to execute the plays that we call and get us off to a better start, back to what we were doing before the bye.
Do you think you have those answers moving forward, or is it something where you have to get back to the drawing board?
Yes, we feel like we will have those answers going forward, James.
Zach, it seems like William Jackson has played well as of late. Just how would you assess kind of his performance over the last few games?
Yeah, I thought he was very competitive. Devontae Parker's a tough matchup. Obviously, he had some DPI penalties there, but Will fought his tail off, and if I can remember, he gave up 3 receptions to him and had the 2 DPIs, but was certainly challenged and was physical and stayed right in his pocket. And again, that's when you're the number 1 corner and you're going against a really good number 1 receiver, you're going to have your challenges during the game, but was proud of the way that Will competed in that game.
Zach, you mentioned after the game that Mike Thomas was early on the second punt coverage, and you said you wanted to take a good look at the first one. Yeah. After doing that, what do you think?
Perfectly legal, completely legal. Yep, the receiver was able to touch the ball, and Mike did not hit him in the head or neck area.
Right.
It was a training video we were sent on August 11th with the exact same hit, and it was perfectly legal and could have been if we'd gotten the fumble, that would have been a big play for us. Obviously, they called a penalty on the play, but that was a perfectly legal hit.
There's no halo in pro football, right? There is in college football, but you can be right on top of him. As soon as he touches the ball, he's free bait, right?
Correct.
Zach, why was he even in the game as the gunner? We never got any sort of injury report or anything on Brandon Wilson.
Brandon had a groin injury on Friday, and it just kind of acted up on him early in the first half to where he didn't feel like he could go.
Do you think that played a role in the second one, just Mike having not played gunner all year? I know he's probably practiced it, but he's not playing the game.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta really look at the situation he was in. Mike is he's trying to make a play, and when you're a gunner running full speed down the field and the returner starts to put his hands up, you have no idea where the ball's at. So you have to assume that it's in the close proximity, kind of like the first one he had. And again, you got to put your head across his body and make sure you're not making contact with your helmet and his helmet. It's tough. You got to make a split-second decision, and there's a chance that ball is going to drop right before, like the first one did, and he's making a great hit. If you feel like you're getting there too soon, you got to be able to break down and wait till you see him touch the ball. But again, Mike was just trying to play fast. He's not trying to injure anybody. He got there a tick too soon. That's obvious. But again, that's part of playing gunner. Mike's got great speed, and he beats the corner right off the snap and got there probably sooner than most guys would get there, and that was part of the problem.
So by rule, Coach, the return guy is the defenseless player. You can't hit him in the head or neck area, but that's the only thing. If he didn't hit him in the head or neck area, totally legal play.
As long as he's made contact with the ball,
right,
and you not hit him in the head or neck area,
right,
which Mike didn't either on that first return.
Right. Is that what they thought? Did they ever say anything to you? Did they think that he hit him in the head? Did they ever declare that? Because they said it wasn't, early. They said it wasn't before the ball's arrival. So I guess that's the only assumption you can make. They thought that he hit him because he put his head to the outside of his body and hit his shoulder and never hit his head, right?
Yeah, sometimes during the game you can hear several things, but you know what happened because you can see the replay very quickly, so you know what happened.
Zach, is Nick Cosgray okay? We saw that he got knocked down in the brawl. Was he all right?
Yeah, Nick's okay. We had a player hit on a blindside block there. There was no flag thrown whatsoever. and so Sean gets up and he's got an entire team on top of him, and so Nick's fine. Nick will be fine. Sean will be fine. But that was a tough situation.
Zach, you've also, I think the offensive line ended up giving up 7 sacks yesterday. It's been a point of contention throughout the year. How do you feel like that unit is performing after yesterday, and especially after what happened to Jonah?
Yeah, it wasn't good enough yesterday. Kind of each guy had their error there to put pressure on the quarterback, give up a sack, and that's not the way we can play. That was a tough look for us yesterday.
Coach, on the play where there were multiple ejections in the first half, New York said they can't call a penalty that an official didn't call. Yet it seemed like they called a penalty the official didn't call when Sean Williams got blindsided. I never saw any flag on that hit, yet they made that offsetting. How did they kind of make both of those equations equal?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I didn't like. I thought TB got hit late out of bounds to start the whole thing and did not throw the first punch, but yet he was the one that got penalized and they both got ejected. And that's very frustrating when you're standing right there watching the whole situation along with everybody else. And we take the brunt of it. But what the rule is that they cannot put a flag on the field. They can eject players, but they cannot put a flag on the field. And so they said that, even though I never saw it, that there was a flag dropped on Tyler Boyd. And so they could not go back. And I know that the rule is New York cannot go back and put another flag on the field. They can only make an ejection.
I didn't see. You never saw the first flag, right?
I never saw any first flag. No, there was a couple of times I never saw a flag, but there was a penalty after the fact.
In the other situation, Sean, I never saw a flag thrown on the illegal block on Sean, yet they said New York said that it was offset, and they never threw a flag.
Yeah, that would be the other situation that I'm referring to. But the bottom line is, Dave, we have to play better. We have to control the things that we can control, and we got to find ways to put points on the board, and we did not do that yesterday. And so that's on all of us as players and coaches to find those ways to, again, just control the things that we can control and put points on the board and get stops coming out in the third quarter like we need to, and do the things that a winning football team needs to do.
How's Brandon Allen doing, and what do you think of his game yesterday?
Yeah, Brandon Allen's doing much better. He was kind of a really bad, got the wind knocked out of him situation. I was kind of staying there the whole time with him, and it was sometimes those deals you get your wind back, in 30, 45 seconds, and this one just took much longer, and he was really struggling there. But other than just general soreness, he'll be okay.
One last question.
Yeah, Zach, do you think that the injuries to all the key players you've had this year are going to make it more difficult for ownership to evaluate the job that you and your assistants have done this year?
We just have to get the most out of the players that we have in this locker room right now and find ways to win games, and again, in the National Football League, you can't make any excuses for things that happen to you. You got to find a way to come to work, get the most out of yourself, get the most out of the players, put together a great plan that puts them in good position to go execute. And that's all that our focus is on right now.
All right, Coach, thanks for your time. We'll let you go.
Thank you all.